2K Sports pregame show, presented by Sprite.
And we welcome you to 2K Sports. Good to have you along, everybody. I'm Ernie Johnson, and this is the legendary Shaquille O'Neal. Tonight, it'll be the Chicago Bulls up against the Orlando Magic. Well, for Orlando, their first time playing these guys this season. A year ago, going 1-2. They'd like to improve on that this go-around. Shaq, let's talk about the impact of Kevin Durant. You know him as a prolific scorer in this league and making progress as an all-around player.
You know, especially
Let's meet Joe Chicago. Starting at small forward, standing 6'8".
We're broadcasting from Chicago as the Bulls get ready to take the hardwood here at the United Center. Looking at Chicago, they took the win in their last game against the Timberwolves in Minnesota.
And with the type of defense they played that day, they were able to cause a lot of mistakes, Clark.
And you know exactly what that means. I mean, causing a lot of mistakes means cashing in on those turnovers.
Now the starting group for Orlando. Durant is out there with Young. Then it's Crawford. Then it's Curry. And it's Kaman in at the 5. Clock at 4. Here's Mills. That is good. Mills has got his team on the board to start the game for the Bulls.
You know, size-wise, this is not a great one-on-one matchup for him, but he got that shot to go.
But you wouldn't know about how he finished. That's a nice hoop there.
Now here's Curry. Gets the three-pointer to fall.
For 3.
Well, you look at the numbers for the Warriors last season. Their offense revolved around Steph Curry, and no surprise.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Kevin. The numbers were staggering. I mean, with Curry on the floor, they were right at the top of the league in offensive efficiency. And when he sat down, they were the worst. A lot was on his shoulders, and he carried that burden well.
And Curry, not just a factor offensively with his scoring, of course, but driving, making plays for others. And I think the departure of Jarrett Jack really allowed Curry to take on a larger playmaking role, and he showed he was ready for that.
You talk about all of the gaudy numbers for Curry last season, extremely impressive offensively. But there's one number he'd like to cut down on, and that's the turnovers. Second most in the league last season, and he'd be the first to tell you he knows he can do better, and I'm confident he will.
Here in the first, a little over a minute played so far. Gasol, a screen on Curry. Shoots from the baseline, and good on the basket. Looking. Gasol's got his first points in this one.
Now you gotta love the footwork. How about that turnaround?
Doris Burke had a chance to catch up with head coach Tom Thibodeau.
One player that he's talked to his guys a lot about is Stephen Curry. He said Curry's one of the premier shooters in the game, and he's got that quick trigger. We really have to be tight to him, get physical, and try to get him on his heels as much as possible. Guys, Curry is an excellent free throw shooter. We'll see if they can do that without fouling him.
Thank you, Doris.
You know, when the size advantage is that pronounced, I mean, that's exactly what you should do offensively in this situation. Take it strong to the middle.
Now here's Curry. Pass to Durant. Kicks to Kaman. Got a piece of it. Out of bounds as Orlando keeps possession.
Well, for Kevin Durant, it was a terrific season. Let's look at his numbers last season. First in scoring, and he was on the top 10 list in free throw percentage, something he really did a nice job of focusing and the concentration to knock down free throws.
And Steve, as you mentioned, I mean, he set the standard offensively with more points than any other player in the league. I mean, a really remarkable season for him. One of the issues that the Magic had to deal with last year and will undoubtedly have to find an answer for this year is finding somebody who can create his own shot.
Kaman with the ball. Now guarded by Stevenson, and it's a defensive 3-second violation. For Orlando, they have not yet made a free throw in the game, 0 of 2 so far. And he shows the focus there, nails the technical. Well, Kevin Durant certainly had one of the most memorable nights in the NBA last season, Steve. dropping the 54 points on national TV. He really looked unstoppable in that game in particular.
Yeah, that was against the Warriors back in January. That was a career high for him. And, Golden State tried every trick in the book, and they have good defenders on the wing, but didn't seem like anything they tried worked that night.
And Mills kicks to Stevenson. That's good.
And the layup just gift wrapped right there. I mean, he had a clear path to the basket.
The Magic have gone 3 of 4 from the field to start out the game. Crawford kicks to Durant. And again, it's Orlando with the 3.
And with Durant and his 54-point explosion, I mean, you really get to see just how unstoppable he can be when he's hitting like that. I mean, nobody can guard him.
The dish to Stevenson. Johnson left side. Barnes with it, guarded now by Durant. And Mills kicks to Stevenson. Clock at 6. Feeds it to Gasol from 11 feet away. Crawford with the rebound.
And a final thought on Durant's 54-point night. It was just the multitude of ways that he scored that was most impressive. He didn't get them all from deep or at the free throw line. He was hitting tough fadeaways and attacking the rim to get those points.
Now Stevenson after the missed 3 from Jamal Crawford. And Mills kicks to Stevenson. Sinks the three-pointer. Stevenson's got 5 now.
Looks like he might be on his game today, Clark.
Stevenson. Here's Curry. 9 points last game. 3-pointer. That's good. He's got 10.
Right back at you. They immediately get those 3 points back.
Trading punches, that's how you answer.
Gasol setting the pick for Stevenson. Johnson with a screen on Crawford. Off the screen, and there's the nice layup by Gasol.
And his shots are dropping right now. This quarter has been very kind to him.
And now the first timeout called here for the Magic. And going against Chicago, their first meeting of the season.
Yeah, a very familiar opponent. They've played these guys an awful lot over the years, and this is the first of their 4 get-togethers this season.
So Chicago going with an almost entirely new group here. John Ensign's checked in for Johnson. Dunleavy comes in for Harrison Barnes. Exum, he's checked in for Lance Stevenson. And it's Pablo Prigioni in for Patty Mills.
Boy, with an open look like that, he is so gifted. Man, you got to play better defense. Eventually, he's going to make you pay.
You got that right. I mean, he'll do it from three-point land or anywhere on the perimeter, really, because he is a deadly shooter. You've got to do a better job defensively.
Exum's shot is off. A lot of familiarity with these two teams. Steve just kind of touched on. Clark, do you think it really does impact the rest of their matchups later in the season?
Absolutely, Kevin. It sure does. I mean, because for the winners today, they now know what game plan brought them success. So they've got a blueprint for the next meeting. For the losers, it's back to the drawing board for adjustments. There's a chance he could have a big game if they don't DM up more tightly on the perimeter.
Vasquez kicks to Smith. Here's Stokes, and the rebound paying off as they pick up 2 on the second chance bucket right there.
That was a good rebound right there, but they haven't been very strong on the glass so far.
Well, they've got to meet the energy that they're facing right now. It's so important to battle on the boards.
Now, here's Exum, and Prigioni kicks to Dunleavy. And again, it's the Bulls from deep.
That's pretty much been the norm for them, getting their points off assists and great ball movement.
Nice rhythm and flow for this team. Tremendous communication and alertness.
Bazemore misses.
Kevin, I didn't like that defensive effort at all, but they're lucky he missed it.
Yeah, they were very lucky defensively because there was some miscommunication there. They left him wide open.
And Prigioni kicks to Henson. 6 to shoot. He feeds it to Dunleavy. Goes up and lays it nice and easy. Dunleavy's got his second basket of the night.
Back and forth we go. That basket gives us just another lead change.
And there have been too many of those to keep track of. What a contest.
And indeed, they're going to look at it again. They need to be certain he beat the buzzer.
Well, now that we can see the replay, it looks like he did get the shot off in time. It looked that way to me originally, and that's the call we should see here.
You're right. I think he got it off, but anytime it's as close a call as that was, in a big situation like this, it's always smart to take a closer look.
And they're going to count it. They're overturning the original call after looking at the replay.
Yeah, good to see them get that one right. That's exactly why we have this rule in place. And I like it. Each basket is so important in these games that you've just got to make sure you get it right at the end of the quarters.
Yes, sir.
On tap Wednesday, November 5th, the Los Angeles Clippers take on the Golden State Warriors. Big-time hoops coming your way.
And so far, it's been a closely contested game as we get the second quarter up and going. And guys, for the Magic, what jumps out to you so far, numbers-wise?
Boy, a ton of threes in that first quarter. This team really lighting it up, guys.
Yeah, it's been an onslaught from downtown.
We've got Dunleavy. Marc Gasol is out there with John Henson. Then it's Exum, and it's Prigioni in at the 5. So that's the 5 in the game for Chicago.
His presence is very comforting for this team. He's kind of a fallback option for them anytime they need it. Thaddeus Young, a face-up 4-man, a lot more of a driver, but trying to develop his three-point shot. In fact, last season, a career high in attempts from long range, and he made them at a pretty respectable rate.
The feed to Exum. Fires for 3. And it's Orlando with the rebound. This game coming on the heels of their win against Toronto.
Well, Kevin, they constructed a perfect offensive game plan going into that game, and it was quickly apparent how powerless the defense was to stop it.
Powerless is a good way to put it, Steve. We're unlikely to see that many uncontested baskets again anytime soon. And Young, really a solid three-point shooter from straight on last season. Good form, even with a somewhat slow trigger. If he can knock that shot down, he becomes a nightmare to defend because we know he can get to the bucket.
Magic leading by 6. And there's the 8-second call as they can't get it across half-court in time. So Chicago going with an almost entirely new group here. Johnson, he's checked in for Gasol. Barnes comes in for Mike Dunleavy. And Stevenson's checked in for Exum. And it's Mills in for Pablo Prigioni. Now here's Stevenson. Coming off a solid outing against Minnesota. For 3, it's rebounded by Durant. Durant's got 3 rebounds so far in the game. And Young, in his 8th season, still just 26 years of age.
Yeah, room to grow. I mean, if he develops that three-point shot, gets a little stronger on the boards, I think he has a chance to become one of the best face-up 4s in the league.
Here's Barnes. Here's Johnson. Here's Henson. And he can't stop the run as he misses. Orlando's gone 6 of 12 from outside. A very nice 50% mark, shooting the 3-ball well. Here's Curry with the 3. Chicago grabs the miss. Henson's got his 3rd rebound on the night. And here's Mills for 3. No luck. The Magic go the other way with it. And they're off to Philadelphia after this game as they'll take on the 76ers. That'll be the second of this 2-game road trip.
A lot of fans focused on that Philadelphia matchup. Big game for them.
Bulls trail by 8. And here in the second quarter of action with a hair under 2.5 minutes played so far. And stolen by Kaman. Here's Crawford. And he can't extend the lead to double digits. Chicago has gone 0-3 from beyond the arc to start the second quarter. Stevenson passes to Mills. He dishes it to Johnson. Mills in the corner. 6 to shoot. Nobody near Barnes. Here's Henson. And it's Kaman with the rebound. Magic leading by 8. Outside Durant. Fires the 3. Again, Durant missing. And Chicago shooting 43% for the game. A lot of people thought, Steve, that Chicago had a chance last year to do much when Derrick Rose went down, but they stuck with it and ended up in the playoffs nonetheless.
And they didn't just make the playoffs. They had home court advantage in the first round as well.
Curry, wide open, cashes in for a double-digit lead. Curry's got 13 points.
And he may be the guy to put this game even farther out of reach.
Unfortunately for the Bulls, home court advantage really didn't do much for them as they dropped their first 2 games at home and were bounced in the first round. Another example of why home court advantage is desired. but it doesn't necessarily guarantee anything in the playoffs. Matchups drive results.
And here in the second quarter of action as we approach 4 minutes played. And Mills kicks to Barnes. Durant with the steal. And here we go. Fast break. Crawford's got it. Curry's shot is good.
All these open threes they're giving up have really been the driving force of this run.
I agree, guys. And the points add up in a hurry when you start giving up easy looks from long range. Well, the Bulls ran into a solid Wizards team and lost in the first round of the playoffs. It looked to me like they might have been worn down. And I think a healthy Bulls team with a little more depth is definitely a threat to go deeper this season.
And so he draws the foul on the shot. A trip to the line to shoot two.
There have been a number of nicknames floated around for Kevin Durant. Everything from the simple KD to the Durantula. But the internet came up with a good one for him last season during his hot streak, calling him the Slim Reaper. I like them all, though.
The Magic making a switch here. Smith checked in for Kaman. Ken Bazemore comes in for Thaddeus Young. Vasquez, he's checked in for Jamal Crawford. And it's Cannon in for Curry. Henson dishes to Stevenson. And the bucket counts, and he's on his way to the free throw line. Try to make it a three-point play. You know, one of the nicknames, guys, that came out regarding Durant was the Slim Reaper. And it caught on pretty quickly. Durant was only lukewarm to it, which is typical of Kevin. Doesn't want to bring a lot of attention to himself. Steve, if I remember, he said he just prefers KD. Am I right? Or the Servant?
Yeah, that's right. The Servant he talked about, which reminded me of Tony Kukoc's old nickname, the Waiter. But it tells you everything you need to know about Durant. He prefers to be known from a moniker that serves others rather than glorifies himself. That's Durant. His shooting has been so good today. He may have to take it upon himself to try to get his club out of this hole.
Cannon to Bazemore. Well-timed pass, and he goes straight to the bucket for the layup. And the Magic lead by 12.
There it is again. On a lot of their possessions this first half, they've established great position inside.
Yeah, getting the ball into the post should be their first option every time down. Force the defense to adapt and adjust.
He's been wayward and just off on about everything he's put up in this period.
40 seconds left to play here in the second quarter.
Defensive foul. Isaiah Cannon.
Patty Mills last season had his best season ever. Really remade his body in the offseason, adding muscle, cutting down on his body fat. Already one of the quickest players in the league. He got even quicker.
And Mills getting quality minutes at the backup point guard position.
Yeah, and for a player who'd spent time in the D-League, playing in China and his native Australia, it seems he's really solidified his place as an NBA player, Kevin, in part because he refocused on conditioning his body and really developed as an outside shooter, too.
Durant, that's good.
That's far too good a look to give them from behind the arc.
Well, that's 3 of the last 5 makes, having been behind the three-point line. So, got to make some adjustments defensively.
And here comes the break. It's deflected. Magic moving the ball around. Curry wide open. Off target with his 3. And here's Mills. He picked up 18 points in their last win against the Timberwolves in Minneapolis.
Put in a lot of good work on the boards. That helped him, too.
Durant for 3.
That shot!
He beats the buzzer.
Wow!
Oh, a miracle heave to finish off the quarter. How did he get that to go down?
A nice release and some good concentration as well, but the biggest thing about that, a whole lot of luck.
And through the first half, a pretty lopsided affair. Magic lead by 16. And time now to go courtside as we send you over to Doris Burke from the sideline. Doris?
Kevin, what has allowed you to build this lead and get some separation here?
Well, we've just been playing hard. Those guys are tough to guard. They cut some.
And as we welcome you back, we begin our second half. So far, not a tightly contested game, guys, but, anything can happen. What a game we're seeing from Kevin Durant.
Well, threes have been falling for him at a ridiculous rate. That first half was just amazing.
And when that's the case here in the second, I think he's just got to keep spraying and splashing them.
Magic leading by 16.
A theme that has unfortunately come up for this Orlando franchise is their inability to keep a franchise talent for long. Of course, you think both about Shaq and Dwight Howard and their exits.
And so in the game for the Magic, we've got Chris Kaman. Durant is out there with Young. Then there's Stephen Curry. And it's Crawford at the 2 guard.
Boy, the floor really opened up for him there.
It sure did. A good job getting it started before the defense can get itself set.
And about Orlando and their stars, is it better, Clark, to have had stars and lost them, or to never have had stars at all on your team?
Well, it's a different kind of heartache, that's for sure. I think you'd rather have them and lose them than not to have them at all. But Orlando has seen a lot of success for how long they've been a franchise. They'd like to be able, though, looking ahead, to keep that next star that's wearing a Magic uniform right now.
Dishes it to Durant. From downtown. Rebound by the Bulls. It's 3-on-3 on the fast break. Here's Mills. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
I look back to last season and the year Stephen Curry had. 6th in assists, 6th in free throw percentage, and of course he was among the best in the league when it came to putting the ball in the basket, in the top 10 in points per game.
Steve, you think about all of the assists he racked up to get into that top 10. He's a guy who always played with his head up, and he was a willing passer who was looking to make the pass at all times.
And both free throws good for Mills.
You know that old saying, the more things change, the more things stay the same. That applies to Chicago. Once again, they were incredibly tough at home with their defense.
Magic leading by 19. Curry passes to Durant. Again, Durant missing. And that tough defense by the Bulls here in Chicago, Steve, helped them to 27 wins in the United Center.
Well, a tough defense can stifle a lot of teams, and the Bulls have that for sure. That's been the strength of their club for a long time, and when you add that to this kind of home court advantage, it's a pretty tough combination to beat.
Let's check out what Doris Burke has for us.
Hi, Kevin. Well, Kevin Durant, the league MVP last season, and that was certainly a goal of his. He said he wanted to be the greatest player in the world, that he'd do everything in his power to achieve exactly that. Now all that remains is winning a title. He knows that's an elite fraternity, the players who've won titles and league MVP. Can he do it, Kevin?
And he knows it takes a team to win it all, Doris. Thanks. And then Johnson with the dunk.
Tell you what, he's not going to win any high jump competition, so it's a good thing he doesn't have to go too far to get to the rim.
I'm not sure he could, or any of us could slip a piece of paper under him when he takes off.
No, it doesn't matter. Much so, Kevin, because he's such a big man. I mean, if he gets positioned, forget about it.
Chicago calls timeout. And for Durant, he said, Clark, he wants to crack that 50 greatest list when it's all said and done.
Kevin Durant has already done that in my mind, but he has a chance to be in that top 10 conversation if he maintains his level of play and consistency. Championships are important, and he knows that, but he's on that list already for me.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
Durant with it. Gasol covering. And Curry the bucket on the assist by Durant. 24 points for Steph Curry.
Boy, they've come out of halftime just smoking hot from behind the arc.
Hey, trust me on this one, partner. They are going to continue to let them fly.
Stevenson can't hit.
Well, those chances are almost always 2 points for him. I guess the defense did what it had to do to bother him.
Hey, Clark, while we have a moment, let's show you the list of players who put up the most points last year. Kevin Durant, number 1.
You know, last year was a tough season with impressive scoring numbers by several players, but this is the man who came out on top. Let's see how he stacks up this year. What a performance from Durant here. He's got 24 points, and talk about the 3-ball for him. Wow, unbelievable from long distance.
Yeah, you are right, Clark. I mean, it's been fireworks from deep. He's just so dangerous out there.
Kent Bazemore's checked in for Steph Curry. And Gasol gets it to go.
He's done a ton to help his team, guys, and he may have to do more if they're going to come back and win. Well, the Argentinian Pablo Prigioni, now 37 years of age, but I really like the way he competes defensively. Also a very good rebounder for a point guard.
And the foul on Kent Bazemore. That's his first foul. So Orlando going with an almost entirely new group here. Chris Kaman is checked in for Jason Smith. Young comes in for Darrell Wright. Jamal Crawford, he's checked in for Kent Bazemore. And Steph Curry subbed in for Vasquez. The pass to Prigioni. And Steph Curry with the foul.